Straight ahead on Law & Crime Daily. Shocking new allegations in the deaths of actress Brittany Murphy and her husband, Simon Monjack. A mother's battle to reopen the 11-year-old cases.
She was a fantastic person. She had full of energy and fun, but she was terrified of dying.
Rapper Tory Lanes pleads not guilty to shooting fellow rapper Megan Thee Stallion in the foot. But could more charges be coming?
A former pro baseball player convicted of triple murder. Should Brandon Willie Martin face the death penalty? His mother's emotional plea to spare his life.
It would be a dagger in my heart.
Law & Crime Daily covering court cases from coast to coast. Welcome everyone to Law & Crime Daily. I'm Brian Buckmire along with Terri Austin. Nearly 11 years after actress Brittany Murphy died unexpectedly, her mother-in-law is speaking out on the questions she has about her death and the death of her son, screenwriter Simon Monjack.
It was the one thing that she was always said, I'm going to die young. And it was something that she almost knew. I can't say that there was any conspiracy. I can't say that things were wrong. All I can say, for me personally, things did not add up.
Linda Monjack is raising these questions in a new podcast, Red Carpet Rendezvous. Law & Crime Daily's Angenette Levy spoke with the host who looks into the untimely deaths of a celebrity couple.
Brittany Murphy was only 32 years old when she died suddenly in late 2009, and the death of her husband just 5 months later has prompted a lot of questions over the years. The coroner in Los Angeles determined that both Murphy and Simon Monjack died of pneumonia and anemia. The drug hydrocodone was found in Murphy's system, along with some medications used to treat cold symptoms. Monjack also had heart problems. Rumors have swirled for years about the possibility Murphy used drugs or had an eating disorder, things she vehemently denied before she died. Some have even suggested she could have been murdered, a claim her mother, Sharon Murphy, has denied in the past. Lauren Conlon interviewed Simon Monjack's mother for her podcast.
You know, I got to thinking that this still just doesn't make sense to me. Her death was so strange and so bizarre that I just wanted to do a little bit of digging. Both of these people claim to be holistic in one documentary, but then they've got all this prescription medication, and Brittany doesn't do drugs, yet over-the-counter pills were found in her system. It's all very strange, and again, just not to beat a dead horse, but it doesn't add up.
Forensic pathologist Dr. Cyril Wecht has called for the investigation to be reopened in the past. He has a lot of questions, including why more testing wasn't done on tissue and hair samples to determine why Brittany Murphy had so many heavy metals in her system. The 11th anniversary of Murphy's death is next month. For Law & Crime Daily, I'm Angenette Levy.
Thanks, Angenette. And to more news out of Hollywood. Former movie producer and convicted sex offender Harvey Weinstein is sick again in prison. His publicist tells me Weinstein has a fever and is being monitored by staff at a New York penitentiary. Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison for charges of rape and criminal sexual acts. He reportedly contracted COVID-19 in March while in jail, but was never officially diagnosed. He is awaiting extradition to Los Angeles, where he'll face additional sex assault allegations. A Tennessee family can sleep easy tonight after some much-needed good news. Law & Crime's Terri Austin has more.
Brian, 9-year-old Jordan Gorman went missing from his home on Sunday, but thanks to quick thinking by rescuers, he's safely back with his family. A statement Amber Alert was issued in Tennessee when Jordan disappeared. 5 search teams scoured the heavily wooded area behind his home. After 2 days, he was found under the blue tarp he said he used to build himself a shelter. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says Jordan was cold and hungry, but is otherwise in pretty good spirits.
Great story. An attorney for rapper Tory Lanes appeared in a Los Angeles court as new allegations emerge in his shooting case against fellow rapper Megan Thee Stallion. Lanes is accused of shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the foot when the two got into an argument on their way home from a pool party in the Hollywood Hills. In an interview with GQ magazine, Megan Thee Stallion said Lanes attempted to offer her hush money to stay quiet. Lanes denied this happened. Lanes is charged with assault and carrying an unregistered firearm. He pled not guilty. Joining me now is criminal defense attorney Ecleynne Mercy along with Terri Austin. Terri, the whole hush money allegations is just a he said, she said. But when you're accused of shooting a woman in the foot, does Tory Lanez have a foot to stand on here?
No, I don't think Tory Lanez has a foot to stand on, but I do think Megan, the rapper, does, or the Stallion does. I think she absolutely has, evidence based on the fact that she showed pictures of her foot that was shot up. And there were also individuals who were in the, SUV when it occurred. So she could absolutely get them to corroborate the information that she gave that he shot her in the foot. And so, yeah, I think Megan Thee Stallion really has a good case here. And the only reason she didn't talk about it before is because she said she was trying to protect him.
Now, Ecleynne, you've represented rappers and artists. Tory Lanez is basically going out, not just in his music, but publicly saying he's innocent. After you saw Megan Thee Stallion's foot injury, what conversation would you be having with Lanez if he was your client right now?
Well, first, you could talk about any offer of money can be excluded as, settlement negotiations. But then I would talk to Tory and tell him to look around and just have a seat. Have a collective seat. Have a reflective and collective seat and shut up. Like, silence is golden. Just be quiet. Just hold your mouth and just shut up. Like, this is what, like, the bane of every criminal defense attorney. Like, just stop talking. Just silence. Silence is golden here. Shut up. That's what I tell them. Shut up. Mm-hmm.
You heard it, Ecleynne. Tell him quiet there, because of course those lyrics can be used against him. Still ahead on Law&Crime Daily, police in Wisconsin discovered a couple dead in their home, but quickly realized their teenage daughter was missing. How Jamie Kloss escaped her kidnapping. And later, who placed the pizza order that ended in Ashley Biggs murdered by her ex? We break down the Ohio trial of Erica Stefanko. The case against an Ohio woman accused of helping murder her husband's ex-wife over a custody dispute is growing. Prosecutors say Erica Stefanko placed a fake pizza order at Domino's to lure Ashley Biggs to her death. Biggs worked as a delivery driver and was later found dead in her car in a cornfield. Chad Cobb pled guilty to murdering Biggs and helped to implicate Stefanko. At trial, prosecutors played a recording his mother made of the defendant allegedly confessing to her involvement. But on cross, the defense questioned her motives.
You want to hear more and more about what Erica has to say, a person who's known to drink heavily and has had at least one drink in her?
We had a meeting and I left it on. We did not leave the building until the end of the week discussion.
The avowed purpose was to hope that Erica will say something damning.
No, it was more because of the kids, and always whenever she was upset about something, calling, withholding the kids until everybody was, in her words, on the same page. We would not get visitation.
Cobb isn't getting a plea deal to testify, but the defense asked his mother if he still has something to gain with Stefanko behind bars.
No, like I stated, we'd seen him a few days prior, and they were getting ready to go on vacation.
Was he acting erratically, though?
No.
Did he take the attitude of women should be kept barefoot and pregnant and down on the farm?
No.
The victim's manager says he remembers a woman placing a pizza order shortly before closing.
It popped up as a new customer in our database. They also asked for the delivery to go to the back door. Ashley, especially with it going right down the road, Ashley would have been back real quick. And I would say about 20 minutes had went by, and I stopped cleaning, and I was like, well, what's going on? I started making phone calls. I started calling her first. I actually started blowing her up, calling her one after another.
Did you ever try attempting calling the number back that placed the order?
I do believe so, yes.
Were you able to get an answer on that phone?
No.
Terry, a big part of this case is going to be the credibility of the witnesses. Which ones are you believing so far?
Well, you know, Brian, I've listened to many of the witnesses, and I think there's several. Chad was really, from prison, quite credible. He basically put Erica at the scene, and he said she made that call to have the pizza delivered. So that was critical. And I also think the general manager of the Domino's, Matthew Travis, I thought he was excellent. He actually put the timeline together so we know what happened when Ashley went to that, lot where they ultimately killed her. And then, finally, I'll say I think Cynthia Cobb did a great job, too, the mother. I think she definitely defended her son in the case. So I think there were a number of credible witnesses.
All right, it seems pretty positive for the prosecution. Ecleynne, the prosecution, as we know, doesn't have to prove motive, but it can help. Does the motive here make sense to you, or do you think the defense can really pull it apart?
The motive here makes no sense. I actually don't find any of the witnesses credible, and I'm just waiting on the defense to actually find that line, find that string, so they can just pull it and pull the case, apart. It's already flimsy at best. I feel like all the testimony is biased. There is some type of allegiance to Chad in this case. So I feel that they have to find it in. And I think that they'll be able to really destroy the prosecution's case. I mean, they're interested parties here. The man pled guilty. I don't know what else. I think that the defense has a chance here to really make it happen.
And of course, at the end of the trial, we all know there's often that charge where you could tell the jury this is an interested party and you could take their testimony in a certain way. Still ahead, a jury is deliberating life or death for a former pro baseball player convicted of a triple homicide. And we'll take you inside the courtroom as a courageous young girl stands up to her kidnapper. When 13-year-old Jamie Cross went missing from her Wisconsin home, a nationwide effort was launched to find her. Law&Crime founder Dan Abrams takes us inside the courtroom where her kidnapper and the killer of her parents admits to what he's done on the A&E Network production Court Cam.
We're inside the Barron County Justice Center in Barron, Wisconsin. This is defendant Jake Patterson, convicted of killing James and Denise Kloss, parents of 13-year-old Jamie Kloss. Patterson had no connection to the family, but when he first saw Jamie walking off a school bus, he began hatching his plan. On the night of October 15, 2018, Patterson arrived at the Kloss home armed with a shotgun. He shot Jamie's father at the front door, then trapped Jamie and her mother in the bathroom as they called 911.
Barron County 911, where is your husband? Somebody I just want from. Hello?
Once inside the bathroom, Patterson shot and killed Jamie's mother and took the 13-year-old prisoner. 88 days after she witnessed her parents' murder, Jamie escaped Patterson's home and made it to safety. Patterson was immediately arrested. He confessed to the crimes and pled guilty to all charges. Jamie was too traumatized to attend the trial, but wrote a powerful statement that was read by her attorney prior to sentencing. Patterson listened just a few feet away.
Last October, Jake Patterson took a lot of things that I love away from me. It makes me the most sad that he took away my mom and my dad. He thought that he could own me, but he was wrong. I will always have my freedom, and he will not.
Then, it was Patterson's chance to speak.
I'll just say that I would do, absolutely anything to take back what I did, you know. I would die. I would do absolutely anything to bring them back, you know. I don't care about me, I'm just so sorry. That's all.
Despite Patterson's newfound remorse, Judge James Barber is unmoved.
There is no doubt in my mind that you are one of the most dangerous men to ever walk on this planet. You are the embodiment of evil, and the public can only be safe if you are incarcerated until you die.
The judge gave Patterson the maximum sentence for the state of Wisconsin, life without parole.
When we come back, a former pro baseball player convicted of triple homicide is about to learn his fate. Stay with us. A California jury is in deliberations deciding if a former pro baseball player will spend the rest of his life in prison or be sentenced to death for a triple homicide. Brandon Willie Martin was convicted of slugging to death with a baseball bat his father, his uncle, and a security system installer. Prosecutors say he killed them in a rage after losing an $800,000 contract. But his defense says he has schizophrenia and had a long history of mental illness. The defendant's mother made an emotional plea to the jury to spare his life.
You lost your brother, right?
Yes, I did.
You lost your husband, right?
Yes.
And now this jury's going to decide whether you lose your son. Is that right?
Yes, Chris. First, I want you to know how sorry I am that Brandon has this brain disorder.
Objection.
We wouldn't wish that about anybody.
Objection, Madam. If Brandon was executed, how would that affect you?
I've had so much loss, so much death. It's so profound. I do not want to lose another member of my family. It would be a dagger in my heart.
On cross, the prosecution asked the defendant's mother about his violent nature and what evidence she has of his mental illness.
Are you talking about an exam, a medical X-ray or MRI?
Correct.
No, he was too paranoid to take one.
Back in 2015, there was an incident where he choked you, right?
He had both his hands on my neck, yes.
Okay, did he or did he not choke you?
He had two hands on my neck, sir. Brandon talking to himself wasn't the normal you talking to yourself playing baseball or shooting a shot that you missed. It's very different.
Okay.
It's a conversation that goes on and on and on. It doesn't stop.
Right. But this is an interview that took place the day after the killings, correct?
Yes, when I was in total shock. Yes, you're right.
Right, but you're still telling the truth, correct?
Yes, to the best of my ability.
Okay. And you were asked if Brandon ever talked to himself. And your response is, I think we all talk to ourselves.
Yes, probably, if that's what the record says.
Terry, that cross of the defendant's mother didn't sit well with me. I mean, at the end of the day, she's a victim in this. What do you think of the prosecution's tactic as to how they went after her?
Well, you know, I think you have to be very careful when you are attacking someone who could be considered a victim, as in this case, the mother. So I don't know if that's going to go over well as far as, you know, the final outcome is concerned. But I agree with you. I think that you have to be very careful as a defense attorney not to, or rather as a prosecutor, not to attack when you're doing your cross-examination.
Thank you. Ecleynne, the jury is still in deliberations for the penalty phase. Why do you think it's taking so long?
Because the mom did an excellent job. She was trained. She was very prepped. You can tell that she was prepped. You can tell that she understood the questions and she answered them. The choking question, I was like, how she answered that was amazing. But I think the jury is thinking, oh, we have this gifted kid. we have this athlete who had the pressure of being an athlete and being a gifted kid who lost it because the one thing that he was told by his father, his uncle, his mom, you're going to make it out of this, you're going to be a superstar, was taken away from him, and the world stopped, and he stopped it as well. So I think that the jury is kind of really humanizing him and trying to put themselves in that position to see that I don't believe that he requires the death penalty. I think he just needs help. So I think that that's what the jury's really debating with right now.
I like how you picked up on the word help, because we also learned the defendant refused to be evaluated for mental competency in the jail cells. And so how do you help a client who can't really help themselves because of their mental illness?
Oh, I file motions. I file the motion and I will do it. I will do it ex parte and I will file the motion because I cannot represent him if I don't know if anything is knowing willfully and voluntarily. So for the purposes of my bar card and how it fits in my pocket, I will make a motion for a psychological evaluation.
And so it seems that that was a major point here, that they couldn't get that evaluation to help out here. Terri, just quickly, do you think it's going to be a big issue not having that mental evaluation?
Well, I think the jury's going to decide that he has mental issues for sure.
Thanks, Terri. And thank you for joining us here at Law&Crime Daily. We'll see you next time as we discuss justice in America.